if you stop making good comments, I stop singling you out.
Okay.
So the comment Aaron made was,
It's not random because there's no red, but there is clumpy.
it's not random because there were no red. There you go. You got 12? Perfect. So, what's wrong with that statement? Say that again, Will.
I see we have the same idea.
By my calculation, there are 4 colors.
Correct.
4 colors. That means on average, you should have 2.5 per 10 of each color. Does that make sense?
Yes.
1/4 of each sample should be each color on average over time. So, does anybody have, for example, 5 of a color sitting in front of them or 4 of a color sitting in front of them?
I have 4.
Well, then you should be just as pissed off as having 0 of a color. Because that's 5 is as far away as 0 is from 2.5, right?
Right.
Totally get what you're saying. Totally know it was in jest too. But it also is important to realize that if you don't account for that ability of the randomness of being there, I mean, random doesn't mean it's not a promise that you'll be.
Does anyone like
It's an average over time. So that's why I looked at your comments so much here. So thank you for that.
I'm shutting my mouth.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
And try to get 10 more Francis as well. Yeah, that would be 10 more for Chad as well.
How about it?
Hands over Chad. Oh, that's kind of foul. Okay, so let's make sure everybody's got 10 now? Yes?
Crap.
Is everybody in a pair?
Yeah.
Right, you'll have.
Unfortunately.
We need you to be in a pair. A triple won't work. It won't make any sense. First of all, you can't complete the quiz in a triple. And secondly, one person will be infinitely bored the entire time. No yellow. Not random. So, everybody make sure you're in pairs. If anybody's not in a pair, let me know. I'll get you with somebody else. 5, 6, 10. Okay, pair with Blake. You guys are a team. Make sure you get a quiz and a pair of dice. Everybody else in a pair? All right. So the big idea now, the quiz is predominantly examples. So that paper that you're holding in front of you is a bit of reading. Please read. I began to realize something. I need to emphasize reading more in my math classes. So read the whole thing. It walks you through me playing a game. So you'll see how you play a game. Craps is tricky at first, but once you understand the basic rules, it goes pretty quickly. So let's talk about how you play craps before you actually read the game that I just played out. Can I have a pair of dice? Where are the dice? Are they floating around anywhere? Oh, thank you.
They're in that.
I know we played, oh, excellent, excellent. I know we played on Monday, but when on the first roll, which I think is called the come out roll, when you roll, one of 3 things actually happens. You win right away, you lose right away, or you make what's called a point. So I just made a point because I rolled a 6. What ways can you win right away?
11 and 7?
7 or 11 you win right away. So here's the way you have to play. The reason you got 10 starbursts, it's a very little triangular number pattern, very nice. You're going to bet 1 each time. So your partner, if you're playing, your partner is acting as the banker. If you run out of starbursts, you can just ask me for more. I've got a bag full of them that I can, and it's probably going to happen, I would hope. So I bought a bunch extra. So you bet 1. So before you even start the first game, you have to put a starburst into make an area of your desk that's called the table. There you go, counting! 4, that's a point. 4 is just like 6. Now all these rules are on the first page of your quiz. It explains it all. It's a paragraph down there. It's a paragraph. Here's how pass line bet works. A pass line bet is the simplest kind of bet. If you roll a 7 or 11 out of the gate, you win. How do you lose out of the gate?
1 or snake eyes.
Snake eyes or 12 or 3. 3 is also a loss. 3 is also a loss. So if you roll a 2, a 3, or a 12, you've lost your ante and you go to the next round. So if you bet a starburst and roll snake eyes, you're done. That's it. Game 1 over. You lost. Keep track of that. Keep track of that. If you'll notice, don't start rolling right away. On the back of the 4th page, I give you a little chart. I give you a little chart to keep track of each one of your games. So, round 1, round 2, round 3, and so forth, and so forth, and so on, and so forth. What pages 1 through 3 are, is me showing you me playing 10 rounds, and what happened with me, starting with 10. And I keep a little running total of what I had as far as starbursts go. So for example, in the first round, I crapped out right away. I bet a starburst, rolled either a snake, I forget exactly what, oh, I rolled a 3. You can see it right there in the little picture. I rolled a 3, which means I crapped out. Done. Lost my starburst, down to 9. Then I have to bet another one. So now I'm down to 8, but that roll I won. I rolled 11. That means I got 2 back. See, watch the payouts. If you win, you get 2 back, which means you profit 1, correct? Because you bet 1 to play. If you win 2 back, you actually make up for your ante plus 1. So in every round, you're either going up 1 or you're going down 1. Hopefully that makes sense. You're either going up 1 in total or you're going down 1. Every round. Every round. This is why you can go over 10. Mine does this in here. You'll see it go up to 12. I think it goes up to 12 and it comes back down to 10. Michelle?
So I get the win or lose. What is the point roll?
Point roll. Point roll. Where's point roll?
When you get a point like.
Oh, that's all those terms are defined on the first page. Read them. There's point rolls, there's the come out, there's crapping out. All those have point. So, in other words, remember how I rolled a 6 up here, Michelle, about 2 minutes ago? That's my point. My job is to roll a 6 again before I roll a 7. 10 doesn't count. 6, boom, I won. Whatever that's called, a point win, I think. So if I win my point, I then get 2, which is just like winning on the first round as far as payouts go. Fair? Yeah.
So all those rolls are 1 round.
Exactly, and thank you, Carrie. As you look through my you can see how the rounds can go a long time. First round was over on the first roll. Second round, first roll. Third round, first roll. Fourth round was actually over in 2. Fifth round, 1 roll. Sixth round took me 10 rolls before it was over. That was a point round, right? Seventh round was 4. Eighth round was 1. I mean, yeah, and this is why craps is so much fun. Because it can go, theoretically, it can go forever. Theoretically, correct? Theoretically, if I rolled that 6, I could never roll a 6 or a 7 again, and just keep rolling other stuff. If you roll Snake Eyes in a point round, it doesn't have, Snake Eyes is only bad on the first roll. If you roll Snake Eyes anywhere else, it's not bad.
Same as 12?
Same as 12, same as 3. The only time those numbers are bad is on the very first come out roll. If you roll Snake Eyes within craps, it's just like any other bogus roll that doesn't count for anything. Go ahead, go.
So, you do the point roll thing?
Yes, sir. So a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10.
If you roll a 7,
You win. There is no point. If you roll a 7, you win out the gate.
after you roll your point.
Then you lose.
Okay, but what about 11?
No, 11, good. Very good question. So, there's a big difference between the first roll you roll and anything else. On the first roll, 7 or 11 is good, you win. 2, 3, and 12 are bad, you lose. If you roll a point, nothing else matters except 7 and your point. That's it. Good question. So if you roll an 11 while I'm trying to roll that 6 and I'm rolling 11, doesn't matter. Snake Eyes, doesn't matter. 12, doesn't matter. The only thing I want to avoid is the number 7. That's a very good question.
On the first, which is the one.
He's asking on successive rolls. On successive rolls, Snake Eyes doesn't mean anything. It's just, if you roll anything other than your point or 7, it's like that roll doesn't even count. It's like it didn't happen. Of course, in the casinos, they love that, because that roll did happen, people were going, and they're getting more excited about it. But mathematically, it doesn't count at all. Sorry about that.
So
You don't like that when you drink? So, does that make sense, Karen? Good, great, go!
What if I want to bet on the 8s?
Careful, careful. We're only doing a pass line bet. Now, Grant brings up a very good point. If you look at this freaking table, this is a craps table, this picture. Okay? There are many, many ways to bet in craps. We are doing the simplest. And the simplest way isn't that simple. I mean, look at the rule. That's the rules for a pass line bet. And notice, if you look in the middle, there's a come bet, there's the field bet, there's a pass line, which is what you guys are doing, the pass line bet. There's the don't pass bet. That's what you guys are doing on your exam, is the don't pass bet. That means you're betting against the roller. Essentially, most of the time when the roller loses, you win. Most of the time when the roller wins, you lose. Notice I said most of the time? We'll come back to that momentarily. There's a reason why it's most of the time and not all the time. And the answer is why Vegas keeps their lights on 24/7. They couldn't do that. Well, I'll come back to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Fair enough so far? So, yes, Grant, not to ignore your requests, but for right now, just do pass line bet, which means if you roll a 7 or 11 in the beginning, you win 2 starbursts back. What do you have to remember to do before each round? This is crucial.
Bet.
You have to bet. This is your stack of chips in front of you. Okay? Be much better if Vegas use starbursts instead of chips. You have to bet a starburst, so you will bet 10 starbursts today. You will bet 10 starbursts today. You might end up with 10 back, you might end up with fewer, you might end up with more, but you have to bet 10.
Can you bet more?
No, no, excuse me, 1 per round just to keep the math consistent. Randall asked a very good question. Aaron, you asked it earlier actually. Can you bet more than 1? In reality, yes. And that way, say you bet 5. If you win 10. It's 2-to-1 payouts. But if you lost, you've lost all 5. So if we keep it at 1 bet per, you each play 10 games, we get 10 data points per person. And we keep the math consistent, which is easier to calculate. If we don't, we have to do a weighted average on top of a weighted average, which is just more trouble than we want to deal with. Aaron, go.
If you get on your points round, if you roll your 7, you'd lose your bet.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, it's just like crapping out at that
If
point.
you get your points, you win both of them.
You win 2 Starbursts back. Winning, there's 2 ways to win, right? You win on the first roll or the point roll. Either way, you get 2 Starbursts.
There's no draw whatsoever.
No, there's never a wash where you just win your ante back. There's 2 ways to win and 2 ways to lose. Win on the first round, win on the point round, lose on the first round, lose on the round. If you get stuck, just come ask me. But start betting and keep track of what happens, okay? If this all makes sense, you can skip pages 1 through 3 and go right to page 4. If not, you might want to read pages 1 through 3.
I get it.
Hey, what's up?
You know why? He's still a
Oh, let me go back there and give you some. Turn the camera off, we'll flex some data.